I'm Andy Berry, a pastor and parent still learning how to disciple not only the kids in my own home, but the kids in my ministry. So I'm having conversations with innovative leaders who are fostering a strong partnership between the church and the home. This is the Nurturing Faith Collective podcast. Welcome back to the Nurturing Faith Collective podcast. My name is Andy Berry, and as I mentioned in the intro to our last episode, my co-host and partner, Danelle Schlickenmeyer, has transitioned away from co-hosting this podcast with me. We had such an amazing time in the first half of our season, but she has transitioned into a new role that has taken her away from this podcast. So as a solo host, I am finding my footing, and I was thankful in our last episode to have both Tina and Tanya. So we still had a three-person conversation to help me with that transition. What a great conversation we had. So if you missed that one on their work with the Nurturing Faith Collective, I would really go back and listen to that episode. But I am excited. We move forward today with a new episode. We're joined by Kristi Schelhaas. She's the Kids Ministry Director at Calvary Baptist in Yankton, South Dakota. And she is also the newest member of the Nurturing Faith Collective. And so she's going to talk all about her work with the collective, the way that she has brought her years of experience in both communication and ministry into one position now with us on this team. She talks a great deal about her role as Kids Ministry Director at Calvary Baptist and some of the things that they're doing with midweek programming and how that's affecting Sundays. And she talks a lot about 5th and 6th grade. And really, maybe my favorite part is she talks about her childhood dream of having a snow cone business. And you're never going to believe this, but she has found a way to make that dream come true, not by building a snow cone business, but by bringing snow cones into her ministry context in a really creative way. So you're going to love that part of the conversation. I am so thankful, and I feel so privileged that you all would continue to join these conversations and listen to these conversations. We want to provide you with practical, tactical steps that you can take as ministry leaders, as faith influencers, as parents, as you continue to disciple your kids, disciple your grandkids, disciple the kids in your ministries. What an important time it is to be finding great resources to help us continue to grow in our role of discipling. So enjoy this conversation, and I think you're going to love Kristi. Hey, Kristi, welcome to the Nurturing Faith Collective podcast. It is so awesome to have you here. You are one of the newest members of the Nurturing Faith Collective, and so I have been super excited to get to interview you. As I was telling you before we jumped on, I know the other members of the initiative, but I am literally meeting you for the very first time right now. And so I'm excited for this conversation because I don't know what you're going to say. But Kristi, tough last name. Tough last name. Give us the actual correct pronunciation.
It's tough to say. It's tough to spell. It's Schelhaas.
Schelhaas. Now,
Yeah,
what's
Haas.
the best like mispronunciation you've heard?
Schelhaas is the usual go-to,
Schelhaas.
but it's just all over the place. And usually my kids get the brunt of it though.
Right.
But the way that they're referred to as Skell or Skelly, so that has kind of helped kids with that first CH.
Oh yeah.
So they get the Skell part and then just follow it with the Haas. So
did you have any fun nicknames as a kid? Well, I
so
guess
actually I married into it.
Yeah, this is a
Here's
married
the
name.
right, and the meaning. So I was a DeGroat before, which meaning of DeGroat I was told is the king. And then I married into Schelhaas.
Wow.
And the meaning of Schelhaas is startled rabbit. So I'm like, what a downgrade. Not only did I go down in meaning, but now in spelling and pronunciation, and it's all just, but
well, I
grateful
would
for
imagine,
the family.
Yeah, I would imagine
the name.
That the name may have been a downgrade in the meaning, but what an upgrade I'm sure your family is. Tell us about your family.
Yeah, so I'm married to my husband, Sam. We've been married for 24 years. We have 3 kids. Our oldest, Isaiah, is 21. He's a junior in college. Wow. Our middle is Adeline. She is a freshman in college. We just dropped her off on Saturday, so changes here. And then we have our youngest is Easton, and he is a junior in high school.
I love it.
Lots of changes.
Do you feel like did you get better at that college drop-off the second time?
Shocked me how much harder it was than I thought it would be, because I
Really?
felt like we had one under our belt. We know what this is like. This will be fine. Man, it hit hard. Was not expecting that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because the balance of now we have more out of the home than in the home,
Oh,
if that
sure.
was it. Also, our youngest is never home. He's a golfer. He's on the golf team. He's gone a lot for that. He also has a mowing business, which he's trying to juggle between golfing and school and now mowing. And so he's just never home. So there's a lot of like alone time now, which maybe it
Yeah.
was some of that. Also, the one that we sent off, our second, was our only girl. So I lost kind of that female with me.
Right.
So I'm not quite sure. It's very fresh yet. We dropped her off Saturday. We're recording today's Friday. It's just, I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. It surprised me though
Well,
of how this hit harder than I expected.
if you unexpectedly break down in tears in the middle of this recording, we'll all be there with you. Okay. We'll,
Okay.
we'll all
I
be
have
there
no
with you.
tissues around. Maybe I
Yeah.
should have
No
planned that
shame.
better.
No shame there.
Okay. Well, thank you for that.
So you are, as I mentioned, new to the Nurturing Faith Collective. Tell us about your role.
Yeah. So I'm communications and design, and really excited about this because before I was in kids ministry, I was a graphic designer for 20 years.
Oh,
So it
nice.
allows me to kind of bring both worlds back together, just my heart in ministry, but also my skill set with design, and to have the opportunity to use the both of them simultaneously is really cool. I'm excited for that opportunity. So we're working on updating website stuff. We're working on forming a newsletter, doing some print material. When our Denise and Luz prepare for conferences, they need some supportive material. So I'm helping them with some of that, and then just overall communication with the team.
I
Um,
love it. And how
yeah.
did you come to be a part of the team?
So I am a Bethel grad, which I graduated last August.
Oh,
So
congrats.
knew Denise, knew Shelley through that. So that's kind of how I got connected with them. It was through the Bethel Seminary program and the Children's Youth and Family Ministry Masters.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it so much. And, one of the things that we've talked about with other guests on the podcast is, you know, it used to be that when we thought children's ministry, we thought like, okay, what snack are we serving? What craft are we doing, and how can we creatively tell this Bible story? And but some of the skills that you mentioned, that you're bringing to the team are all now essential skills for people who are working in ministry in the local church. We're now having to be masters of communication. We're having to be masters of social media. We're having to figure out websites. And so it's such a cool mix that you bring, having that children's ministry experience and that communication experience all in one package. Was that something in your children's ministry experience? Did you feel like that was a gear that you were always in, the communication piece?
Absolutely. It's really cool. When I was in that master's degree program, we had a leadership course and we had to do a leadership emergence timeline, which kind of mapped the course of our life. And we saw different elements that prepared us for the roles we're serving in now. And I always felt like me stepping into ministry was it came out of left field. And who would have thought? And this was, I compared my career journey to a pinball machine where I was here, then I was there, then I was here. But through that project, I just saw how God was putting things in place to equip me to serve in the role I am now. So when I went to college, I wasn't sure what I wanted to major in, and I started accounting, which what I was thinking, I have no idea.
Wow.
So it was one accounting class in, and I'm like, this was a mistake. So then I did computer science, and I did that for a year. And then there were some math classes where I'm like, I can't. My brain does not work this way. And then I switched to art, which how you start accounting and end in art. I don't know
Right.
if anyone's followed that course.
Right.
But just seeing now how, and then also my experience in design, working as a graphic designer, how God brought it all together, because I have to keep track of budgets. So I
Yeah.
have that accounting aspect of my job.
Yeah.
I need to be able to navigate computers and learn new systems and set things up. So that element of computer science comes in helpful. But then also, like you said, the social media, I need to be able to market. I need to be able to design. I need to be able to create. And so that art element, that graphic design experience comes in. But then also the master's degree in children's family ministry, to have that knowledge of ministry also helps equip me for where I'm serving now. So could I have ever planned this course? Absolutely not. But God knew what he was doing in just each step along the way.
I love just the visual of God sort of mapping out your life, and ordering your steps and being like, okay, here we go. I'm gonna have her in ministry one day, which has budgets. Okay, hey, let's give her like 3 days of an accounting class.
I wish it was 3 days.
Yeah.
It was one semester. I was like, no.
Let's give her one semester of an accounting class before we yank her right back out of there. I love that. Yeah, it is interesting to think about all of the twists and turns, and I love that visual of a pinball machine. I had never heard that before, but I think that is such a great, because it can feel jarring sometimes. You think you're on one path, you're very confident in it, you feel like you've heard God's voice in this, and then you get a semester in and you think, I don't think this is it,
Right.
and that can be really jarring. And we're talking about changes and transitions that are, changing a major is meaningful, but then when you think about just life experience happening, whether it's a move or a divorce, or the loss of a relationship, or a challenging experience with a senior pastor, like some of these things are really jarring and can feel like that pinball machine. So how did you stay? I don't know the word. How did you continue to trust God's leading in the midst of maybe feeling like you've been bounced around for a while?
Yeah. The line I keep going to, daily obedience. And I think looking back, where you see just God's faithfulness and just guiding and leading you, gives you confidence in trusting, okay, I don't know what today holds, but I trust that I feel like I know what he's calling me to for today. So I'm going to walk in that.
Sure.
Also, I found when I made that career switch from design into ministry, it felt absolutely crazy, but I had such a peace. There's something, the deep knowing of the Holy Spirit, of I feel God's called me to this. It doesn't make sense logically. Like, this makes absolutely no sense. It doesn't make sense to others. When I finally told people what I was doing, it's interesting how many different ways people can communicate. We think you're crazy without saying it. Just sometimes it's a look on the face, or it would just be like, well, you can always go back to design. I'm like, yeah, I could, but I hope I never do, in that element of stepping out of ministry. But just that deep knowing and trust, where you feel God has called you to something, and finding confidence in that, so that even when it doesn't make sense, okay, he's called me to this. And I trust that he'll lead and guide me. Whatever today has, whatever tomorrow has, he'll be with me, he'll lead me and guide me. So just that daily obedience to whatever he's called me to. And it's exciting. Once you've seen it played out, you're like, what do we got today? Like, I don't know where this is going, but I trust you, and whatever you have, my answer is yes.
I don't mean to over exhaust the pinball analogy, but my brain just keeps firing with these ideas. When you say daily obedience, the visual that comes to mind for me is that next ball loading, and then you pull that piece, that spring loaded thing back, and that's God launching you into the next day, and you're going, I don't know what I'm going to bounce off of. I don't know what I'm going to be hit with. I don't know how many points I'm going to get here, but hey, I'm in it. And I'll put another quarter in the machine, and I will do this again,
I love it.
And that obedience is, it doesn't come easy. I think it doesn't come easy, but like you said, when you see the fruit of that obedience, and I don't even mean like, well, everything good happens, but when you see God's design and God's plan play out, and you were trusting along the way, you start to crave that, I think, a little bit 100%, more.
100%.
So you are doing work with the Nurturing Faith Collective, but you're also in a local church context. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I'm kids ministry director at Calvary Baptist in Yankton, South Dakota. I oversee 3rd grade and down. So I'm with the fun ones.
Yeah.
We call ourselves the fun side of church.
The fun side of church. Yeah. I always tell people that you think you're a great teacher. Come try and teach in kids ministry. Come try and teach in preschool.
They will let you know.
And we'll see how good you are.
Yeah. They are honest. I call them awesomely random, where you just have no idea what's coming. but it's just, there's something so fun about it. Like,
I love
what
it.
stories am I going to walk away from today? Because I will
Right.
have some.
So is it just you? Is there a paid staff team? Is it a team of volunteers with you?
So I'm the only one overseeing sixth grade and down. We have a student ministry pastor for seventh through 12th grade. We have a connections pastor and we have a lead pastor.
Okay.
So I'm the only one on the kid side, but I have just an incredible team of volunteers. We just launched Wednesday night, our Wednesday night programs for the fall, and just such immense gratitude for the incredible team of volunteers I have. So better than paid staff, I think,
Right.
is just the team that we have supporting us, encouraging us, stepping into wherever I need help. So just incredibly blessed with our volunteers.
Give us an idea of how many kids, what's the size of the church? I think sometimes that helps people identify with
Yeah.
some of the things that we're talking about.
Yep. So on a Sunday, we're, I think, just right around 500 in attendance, people overall. And actually, our Wednesday night programs are our highest attended for kids. And
Oh, okay.
so we'll be just under 100. We do a WANA for fourth grade down to 4-year-olds. And then we have a fifth and sixth grade program that is seeing right around 40 kids. So,
Nice.
yeah, that's about our
And that's
numbers.
that's outpacing Sunday morning participation.
It is. Yeah. We really have found that our Wednesday nights is also kind of an outreach ministry where we'll have some kids who come from churches who don't have Wednesday night ministry programs. We also have quite a few kids who don't go to church on Sundays, but they'll come to Wednesday nights. And a lot of that is through invites from friends or just parents who want kids involved in something church related. So they'll bring them to our Wednesday night programs. So yeah, that is our
Yeah.
highest attended for kids.
If this was our church context and we had someone or we had something on Wednesday night that was outpacing Sunday morning for kids, the conversation would be very much how do we get those Wednesday night families to come on Sunday, which I immediately think may miss. Wait, no, how do we continue to leverage what's happening on Wednesday night? So where have you guys been at as a team and as a staff in that conversation?
Yeah. Some of it, when we have kids coming from other churches, we don't want to pull from other churches.
Right.
If they're Bible preaching churches, like we're a partnership, we're a
Right.
team. We just want to support them with a ministry that they might not be able to offer on Wednesday nights. So we don't try and pull those kids. But there are some kids who don't go to church on Sundays. And how can we get them to come to our church on Sunday? And we found a lot of it just in getting to know those families, building that relationship, giving them a comfort with our space and our church. Sunday mornings can be intimidating.
Right.
And so if you can come in knowing, hey, I'm going to see some people I know, some people I've had conversations with, I'm going to know where to go to check in my kids or where they're going to need to go. That helps break down some of those barriers and eliminate some of that fear. This Sunday, we're also doing something. I'm really excited about this. This is our third time. We call it Kid Serve Sunday. And so every fifth Sunday, those months where you have 5 Sundays in a month, the fifth Sunday, we pull our students in to help serve. And
nice.
So we're going to have kids. We had kids read the announcements. We have kids who are joining the worship team. We have kids who are going to be on the host team serving as greeters. We pull in our student ministry program to help with kids worship. But also I found that has been a great tool to invite some of our Wednesday night families who don't come on Sunday mornings, because we push it on Wednesday night. We're like, hey, we want you to step in and serve.
Yeah.
And some of those kids who don't usually come on Sundays want to be part of that, which then brings their family in for that Sunday. So that's something
cool.
that we have coming up this Sunday. Excited for that.
How long did you say you guys have been doing this?
This is our fifth Sunday.
Oh, okay. I wonder what the long-term effect will be, especially of these students, who are serving in these ways. I wonder if when they get out of elementary, well, let me ask you a question. When kids get out of elementary or they get out of third grade, maybe, are they in the service?
No. So we have 2 services. So the first service, we offer Sunday school for all ages.
Oh, okay.
And then second service, our kids worship goes up to 4th grade. So second service up to 4th grade, then you bump into the worship service.
Gotcha. Well, one of the things that we're seeing in our context is kids are in children's ministry with us up through 5th grade. And then once they get to 6th grade, they're in the worship service with their families. And so, that we're trying to help them capture the vision of this is the when you would start serving. This is when you would start serving
Right.
on the host team. This is when you would start serving in the band if you can play an instrument. This is when you would start serving in on my team. I get a lot of
Hmm.
that like pop up Sunday, where kids move to sixth grade. I get a whole new crop of like nursery and preschool small group leaders,
Nice.
and so I wonder what the long term effects will be of those students who are saying, "Hey, I like being the church. I like
Yeah.
having a
Yeah.
role. I want to do this more. I want to do this more
Yep.
long term." So, not that that's
And
why you're
that's
doing it, but that would be a really cool domino that will fall.
and it's the feedback I've gotten already. So when we put out the ask for here are the areas we need, the kids who made announcements the time before wanted to do it again. The kids
Sure.
who were on worship team wanted to do it again. So I hope, like you said, that continues where, hey, I enjoyed this. I felt God had gifted me for this. I
Yeah.
want to keep stepping into it.
That's what they're saying.
That's what I'm hearing. I don't know if they
Oh,
would
yeah.
articulate it
Oh,
as
sure,
God
sure.
has gifted me towards it, but I've got two girls who they were on the worship team last time, and they're like, "Hey, we really enjoyed this. We'd like to do it again."
That's really cool.
So, where you just see it through them wanting to continue, and I hope it just continues throughout their life of just
Yeah.
giving them that opportunity.
That's really cool. We oftentimes will say around our ministries, kids are not going to really remember like everything that we do for them, but they're going to remember the things that they do in the church. Like they'll remember the things that they do for the church, the ways that
Absolutely.
they serve, the leadership, roles that they have. Whether that be a one-off program or an ongoing thing, we think those are the stories that they're going to look back and tell.
Hmm.
Not, well, I remember Andy said this one thing this one time. It's going to be, I remember I said this thing to a preschooler, and this was their reaction. And so, yeah, I love it.
I
I
love
love it.
it.
I think you and I are very much aligned in wanting to get that next generation serving within the church because they are the church. So,
Yeah.
what if any challenges do you feel like you guys are facing in your local church context, and how are you
Hmm.
addressing those?
I think when I stepped into this role, I'm 3.5 years in. I think the biggest challenge I faced when I stepped in was our fifth and sixth grade attendance. It was our lowest attending group. Um, and so we struggled with how do we get them back? And some things we did, we rebranded. So we gave them their own identity, and they are now called Rev 56, and they have their own logo. And while they're still under our kids' umbrella, they still have this program that is kind of independently theirs. So there was some excitement of aging into that Rev 56 program. We also changed up what we did with them on Wednesday nights, where we started a new curriculum. We went to groups Be Bold. And what they do is they base their curriculum on questions preteens have about faith.
Mm,
So each night we're tackling a big question. And I love that we're going deep. We're not staying surface level.
sure.
This past Wednesday, the question was, is it okay to doubt God?
Yeah.
And we talked about, okay, let's look at scripture. Let's look at how John the Baptist struggled with, is Jesus really the Messiah? Let's talk about Thomas. We pulled different scriptures of what do we do when we're doubting God? Um, and then I love that they are then challenged to then implement that into their life throughout the week. They have little mystery mission cards that they
Yeah.
have to take it at the end of the night. They're given their mystery mission card. They can't open it till they get home, and it's a challenge of how do you live out what you learned tonight for the week. So their challenge for this week is to talk to someone, to say, hey, do you ever doubt God? And then talk to them about what you learned. So we learned that doubt in itself isn't bad. It's what you do with that doubt.
Right.
And so you take your doubt to God first. You talk to him about it. You go to other Christians, talk to them, because sometimes you can find strength in sharing common struggles, where I've had kids come to me who are doubting and questioning, is God good if I'm going through this and it doesn't feel good at all? And I can
Mm,
share a time where I felt that way, and here's what helped me through it. So talk to other Christians. And so then we also challenge them, pray with them on the spot, where don't
right.
say, I'll pray for you,
Right.
pray with them then. So that's their challenge for this week. So we go deep with them where they're struggling with some big faith questions, and we recognize that, and we want to come alongside them in that. So that curriculum has really kind of shifted what our Wednesday nights look like with them.
Yeah.
um, we
Can I just
also,
say
yeah.
on that? I love that you all are doing that. Um, I don't. I think there are a lot of great leaders out there. I think there are lots of great churches out there, and there have been, throughout my lifetime. But I also think there are some places where we have struggled, and one of the things that I hear, I'm an elder millennial, and so I don't know. Are you an elder millennial?
What's the cutoff for that? What would be the
Like around like 80, 81, 82.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So we're aligned in that. But some of the things that I hear from like other peers of mine is, I was given like my church like was like uploading faith to me for 18 years. And then they sent me off into the world, and the version of faith that they gave me seemed insufficient for the world that I was stepping into. And there was a disconnect there for me. And so, not that they weren't teaching them great Bible stories, and not that they weren't really relational with them, but it was that they hadn't really asked harder questions. They hadn't really taken anything for a test drive, in the world around them. And so what you all are doing, I think, is brilliant, because you're saying, hey, not only are we teaching you this thing today, we're discipling you, and we're teaching you this thing, but we're asking you to go take it for a spin, and see how this feels in the world outside of the walls of this church. And so when these students, leave the nest, whether that be at the end of high school, the end of college, whatever that looks like for them, they will already have a personal faith that they have felt that in the real world. They have felt what it's like to share that with someone. That faith has had to have been sufficient for real struggles that they've had in the real world. And so I love the way that you all are approaching that. I think it's such a better leveraging of that time that we have with these kids in these phases. So really, really well done.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Our Rev 56 kind of tagline is a gaining of momentum, revving of the engine, the gaining of momentum for a life lived in pursuit of Jesus.
Oh, and that's so awesome.
It rolls into, then our youth ministry program is called Pursue. So I love how it just kind of leads into that. But our tagline for Rev, again, going back to that marketing communication stuff, of course, I need to form a tagline if I create a new logo.
Right.
But it's faith in motion. And we share that with the kids often, where this is not, we don't want your faith to be formed on what we tell you, what your parents told you. We want you to embrace it for yourself and ask big questions. We welcome the questions. We might have answers, we might not. So if we don't have the answers, how do we navigate that together? Let's go to scripture first. What can we find in scripture? Who else can we talk to? And in our room, we have a box. It's called the Ask the Pastor box. And so there are questions. Man, they put great questions in there. There are questions that we as adults have too, where okay, that's a great question. I'm not sure. Drop it and ask the pastor box. And then twice a year, our pastor comes in and he answers their questions for them. And what I've loved about that too is after our Wednesday night, I'll go in the box, I'll check the questions. And sometimes it gives me a good indication of what are they still struggling with that we talked about. So then next week we can come back and they don't know I've seen their questions. They don't know I'm digging through there, but I can just be like, hey, last week we talked about this. Let's go back to it and let's just clarify something that maybe they might have questions about that. I don't want to wait 2 months until the pastor comes in to talk to. So it's just helped us kind of steer like where we go the following week also. But it's one of, our favorite nights, because the questions kids give are just, some are so deep where I'll give our pastor a heads up. I'm like, get ready. You're going to need weeks to prepare for this one.
Right.
Or it'll just be off the wall, funny, a lot of comments. He's bald and there's always something about his hair or his lack of hair. They're 5th and 6th graders. So you just get a wide gamut.
Oh, I think everyone listening to you tell that story right now on the podcast is like, yeah, but we've all worked with like middle schoolers. So what are the funny ones they put in?
Yeah.
Fun. It's always interesting to me with my own children, as we will follow up on whatever we talked about at church on Sunday, we're going to follow up throughout the week with our kids, and we've got some devotion stuff that we do from that. And I will say things sometimes knowing full well, I've just heard that my whole life. I've never actually, maybe I haven't taken the time to really explore that. And then my kids will ask the most logical question. And I, as a pastor, sometimes will go, like I'll say, well, guys, like Jesus died on the cross to take the penalty for our sin, and they're like, well, how'd that work? You know, Eh, I don't know. Like, so we don't have to pay a penalty now. Wait, were we going to have to die on a cross? Like,
Yeah.
was someone going to put us on a cross because we sinned? And I go, well, no. Okay, give me a second.
Yeah.
Sarah, I'm calling for their mom.
Yeah.
So it is great. I mean, that because they really are thinking, their minds
Yeah.
are just so wide open, and there's
Yes.
just this explosive creativity and
Yeah.
imagination. And that's why we said, I mean, back to the beginning, like everyone should come and hang out in kids ministry sometimes, and teach in there, because you will learn.
Right.
I'm not saying you will learn more than you will learn other places, but you will certainly learn differently
Mm-hmm.
and than you do in other places. Well, that's really cool. What do you guys have coming up that you're really excited about?
Coming up, we just kicked off our fall launch for both Sunday mornings, Wednesday nights, and just the anticipation of what's this year have for us. We have our calendars coming up with just fun events, but
Yeah.
also there's just beauty of routine.
Yeah.
And that's what I think I'm most excited for. Just the summer's hard for just maintaining those weekly relationships when families are gone for a month or you don't see kids for the whole summer.
Right.
So I think what I'm most excited for is just the routine of getting back into the lives of these kids, where you just are able to connect with, okay, how you doing this week? And I can touch base with you next week. How are you doing next week? And then the relationships that form through that, for not just me, but our leaders. We have just a great team of leaders who I can't wait to see what God has in store for us. So a lot of anticipation right now of okay, we've set the stage. What's he got for us this year?
Yeah.
So summer was great. It was a lot of fun. So it's hard to say goodbye to summer. We loved it. We do a lot of fun stuff with our Rev kids. Snow Cone Bible Study has become one of my favorite ministries.
Yeah.
I grew up wanting to have a snow cone stand my whole life, and then rolled it into to the point where even as an adult, sitting at baseball tournaments and just seeing these snow cone wagons come, I couldn't let go of that dream. And I even researched what would it cost to get this franchise, and I determined having a snow cone stand that requires you to work on the weekends and ministry probably don't go well together.
Right.
So how can I bring the two together? And we started a Snow Cone Bible Study on Tuesdays with 5th and 6th graders. And it honestly has been one of my favorite things that we do. So there's some parts of summer I'm sad to see go, and that's one of them, but excited for what fall has for us.
You are living out a childhood dream.
I am.
By serving snow cones at Bible study. I love it.
Our attendance was so good. I think we started with just maybe 6 kids coming. This was our 3rd summer doing it. And I had my son's $40 birthday gift snow cone machine, just like, we've upgraded to now we have an official snow cone machine.
Oh, nice.
And we're buying jugs of syrup.
How about it?
We're legit. We don't mess when it comes to snow cones.
I love it.
But yeah.
So if you're listening in the South Dakota area and you're looking for a snow cone,
you're gonna have to wait till next summer
for your birthday party. You can contact Kristi. I love that so much.
I feel like it needs some maintenance. So towards the end of the summer, it was making some sounds where I'm like, I don't think that's good. Hang on, I just need one more week. So we need some maintenance.
I think about the folks that are listening, and they're thinking, I have a hard enough time getting our kids to focus during a Bible study. Before we have pumped them full of sugar water.
so much sugar. So much. But the beauty of snow cones, they take a long time to eat.
Yeah.
And you really have to let them melt.
Yeah.
So their mouths are quiet for about a half an hour. And the sugar hits right as we send them home.
Right. That's another way you're revving them up. So I love that. I love it.
Yes.
You mentioned the beauty of routine. Sometimes I think for folks in ministry, we can look at the calendar and think, okay, here comes another gauntlet of a fall, and now it's time to plan Christmas. And then as soon as we're done with that, we'll be thinking about Easter and then summer programming. And it can be overwhelming, at times, especially, somebody like in your position or my position where we're the only paid person on the team, and we're dependent on volunteers. And as much as there is beauty in the routine of returning, to some of that relational things that you talked about in the fall, sometimes that routine can be exhausting. And so, what
Yeah.
would you say? How would you encourage a leader who's coming into another fall, um, who is really starting another fall right now, and looking at a winter and a spring and a summer that are coming? If they're discouraged, how would you encourage them to stay in it?
The fatigue is real, and I think it's can be overwhelming in the fall. We've got a long course to go here. I think of a podcast I heard where Levi Lusko was interviewing Toby Mack, and the question he tossed out to him was, "How do you remain passionate about ministry after all those years?" And the line he gave is just something I come back to often. He said, "Every day I go to battle with the jaded spirit." And sometimes you wake up with that. We're like, oh, another day. Here we go. Just that fatigue. And he talked about his position on the chair. He shared how sometimes when you're sitting in a chair, if you're just slouched back and you're leaning forward, I think of my kids who I would yell at as they're sitting in a classroom and they're just like legs sprawled out. I'm like, the nonverbals that send is you're checked out. You don't want to be here. And Toby Mack talked about just wanting to have the position of being on the edge of your seat, just expectant for whatever God has for that day. And so when I start to feel myself doing that slouch of just, here we go again, I check my posture. Okay. Yeah. Do I recognize the privilege this is to serve the God of heaven's armies? Like, I have the privilege of serving him in this role today. I'm part of his team. He entrusted me with this, of what a gift this is. And I want to give him my best. So just repositioning that posture of my heart of, okay, where's my attitude at today? Yeah. How do I reposition it? Another thing that I find often I go to is a line I heard, that your followership of Jesus matters more than your leadership for him. So when I start to feel my leadership for him kind of like slumping, where I'm like, I get that attitude. Like, what's my followership like right now? Like, am I in his word daily? Am I praying? Am I finding time to get into a church service? That's hard for us.
Yeah.
Am I being fed also? Because I'm only going to pour from what I have. And if my cup is empty, man, I need to find a way to fill that up. And rest is one of my biggest struggles. I'm not a good rester. And so to recognize, okay, I need that to be able to serve well. So just when I feel my attitude starting to slip back to the negative or the discouraged, those are two areas that I just try and check in with. Okay, where am I dropping things, and how can I step into what God has called me to better? So those are two things
that's such good stuff.
Yeah, I'm kind of learning as I go. I feel like I'm new to this yet. And so just stuff that other people I've heard from them where I'm like, oh yeah, that helps. So I hope.
Are you saying you're new to this, like almost ministry life is what it feels like? It's like, hey, this is my first time,
I wish.
It's my first time being a human, and so I'm learning as I go.
I think the role of ministry leadership is what I'm new to, where I'm 3.5 years in. This is, things have surprised me in ministry leadership. Yeah. The fatigue of it surprised me. Yeah. I had heard people talk about it, and I always just kind of was like, whatever, like, don't tell me your job is hard. Like, all of our jobs are hard. Sure. We're all tired. Like, but there's a different level of fatigue with ministry, because it's the physical where you're just drained because you gave it all, but there's also the emotional. There's also spiritual warfare. It's real. So there's the spiritual attacks too. So it's not an easy role, but it's just one, man, I'll forever be grateful for the opportunity to serve in this way.
That's really beautiful. I think about, we are aligned around this idea in the Nurturing Faith Collective, of the role of ministry leaders and parents and faith influencers together. And so, I think about that posture as a parent. When I'm very intentional about discipling my kids, but there are times I think that I can feel myself slouching in the chair. Mm-hmm. There are some times that I think like, you know what, it's late. I don't really have it in me tonight. I don't know, guys, let me just give you a kiss and go to bed, as opposed to sticking with that routine that we have of, hey, let's read your devotion. Let's pray together. Let's do these things. And not that my kids' faith hinges on tonight's, devotion and prayer. But I don't want to miss those moments. And so I kept thinking as you were talking, what a message for parents that your followership of Jesus is more important than your, how did you say it?
Your followership of Jesus matters more than your leadership for
Yeah.
him.
So really, when you're thinking about your kids, I mean, really, you staying connected to Jesus, you exercising an everyday faith, you being engaged with Him relationally, is going to provide then everything that you need to lead your kids. And so,
Yep.
if you're trying to disciple your kids at home, and your cup is run dry, that's where I think you're going to find an issue. And so, what a great message for both ministry leaders, faith influencers, and for parents. And so, thanks for kind of wrapping that up in one bow,
Yeah.
on such a crucial point for anybody who may be listening. Kristi, this has just been such a great conversation. I have learned a tremendous amount. There are nuggets that I want to go back and listen and write these things down. I don't know
Wow.
about you, but I have like a board in my office, where I'm just going, that was a great quote. I got to write that down on a card and just look at that for a while. There's a couple things you said that I want to do. I'm really excited for your work with Nurturing Faith Collective. Speaking of momentum, I feel like, we're still gaining momentum. We're still figuring things out as a team and launching new initiatives. And yes, the podcast has been going for a little bit. We've got the coaching stuff rolling, and the curriculum folks are out there, and there's a lot of great work happening. And so you're joining at such a fun time. And so thanks for being kind of a boost to the work that we're doing. And I look forward to doing this work with you for a long time to come.
Great team. So excited to be part of it.
It is. Well, hey, listen, this has been a great conversation with Kristi, but join us for future episodes of the Nurturing Faith Collective podcast. Thanks for being here, and we will see you next time.
Thank you for having me.